How do you tell if someone is your twin flame or not?
Yes, so we're going to give you 5 signs.
We don't want you to waste time with someone who is not your twin flame when your twin flame could be right around the corner. That's probably why you're watching this video. We don't believe in coincidences. It's so easy to get stuck with a false twin flame or karmic because we don't want to be lonely. And in the end, we will share a classic sign, which is actually not a sign according to us. So
yeah, people think this is actually a sign that they're your twin flame. It's not. So
don't waste time on it. Don't waste time on it. We are twin flames in union, helping people like you into union. So make sure to subscribe.
All right. So sign number 1 is that your visions, or kind of future visions specifically, will align. So your past might be kind of a little bit different, I would say, as you're like finding your way. But then when you actually kind of meet, and then afterwards, your vision of the future will be kind of very similar.
Well, we can give an example from our life. So I remember on a bus in Spain when we had just met, we were talking about our future house, like how we were imagining our perfect house, and they really aligned. We didn't know yet we were twin flames, like we were maybe thinking maybe, but I thought that was really cute how we both had the same vision for that. Other things that we have in common is that we both love the nomad life, traveling around the world, working from our laptops. So I thought that was pretty crazy that we both were doing that like before the pandemic.
I think you said pandemic.
I did say pandemic. Another way our visions aligned is that none of us feel like having kids. Also, our diets align, so we're both vegetarian. We really feel attracted to veganism, but sometimes we get a cheeky cheese.
Sometimes we have a slip up, a cheat day, as they say.
And for both of us, quality time is very important. So work is kind of second, and then spending time together is numero uno.
Yes.
So let's say that the partner you're with, they want to move to Cuba, and you were really happy where you are in Germany, let's say. That would be quite uncommon. Or if that was the case, then you would be flexible to move, either of you.
Yeah.
Because love would, conquer all.
Yeah, you wouldn't be, so attached to your current life, like job and friends, that you would force yourself to stay there if they were moving to Cuba. If they were your twin flame, you would just kind of go.
Yeah.
Or they would just not go.
Yeah. Yeah. I have many friends who have long distance relationships where none of them, even though they can move to the other's country, they're just choosing not to. To me, that's not a twin flame relationship, would you say?
Probably not.
No, because then it's like you do anything to be with them.
So the next one, I guess this is number 2, is that you can kind of be quirky with them and be yourself, and then you don't get judged. They don't think it's weird, or they don't, make fun of you or something.
Yeah, exactly. We're both quite quirky.
Quirky.
Yeah, and other people think it's weird. Like I used to do these sketches in school as projects, and so many times I would just be met with total silence in the classroom. Everyone would just think like that's just so weird, like that's not funny at all. Well, Steph always laughs at my jokes.
Well, you pay me quite well.
Right. So your twin flame will love your jokes. So you don't need to be afraid that you will be seen as odd or strange. They will just love your quirky humor.
Yeah, I would say usually that kind of happens early as well. Like you can be yourself very early on in meeting, maybe even the first time you meet them.
Yeah, exactly. So I was surprised by how like relaxing and natural it was to be with you the first time we met in Spain. I was running on the beach barefoot, like we were both being very crazy, and it was the first date, which like shouldn't happen. Usually it's more reserved, but we were just like letting out our full personalities. It's like your soul remembers that you've had many lifetimes together and that you share something very special.
Yeah, we've said this many times before. Like it feels really natural to be with them. You don't need to worry about what they'll think about you or
any mind games or anything like that. Sign number 3 is that you have very similar values.
Yeah, usually you'll be kind of the same way inclined, whether it's politically or morally, I guess. Or it doesn't have to be the same religion. You can have different religions, but you'll usually have the same underlying belief system or core set of beliefs. Like you believe in a higher power. You kind of both have the same sense of right and wrong. So the next one, I suppose number 4, is that something will keep bringing you together, kind of magnetically pulling you towards each other. so that you know, it might be random circumstances, like things that seem random, synchronicities or unusual things that keep making you like meet them, or you run into them in a shop, or you see them pop up on social media or something, or even you see their name maybe.
Yeah.
There's like a film, you're randomly watching a film and then their name pops up or something like that, you know.
Yeah, there will be a lot of synchronicities and signs, and even if you've broken up or in your separation stage, I can confirm as a runner, I was still like thinking about stuff like all the time. It was like 99% on my mind, like all the time. 1% was like food, shelter, like and the rest was just thinking about stuff. So even as a runner, like it's very hard to get out your twin flame from your mind. The fifth sign is that there is an instant connection when you met. You know how some relationships is like build up, you start off as friends, and then it's like eventually you're like, oh well, let's become a couple. Well, with twin flame it's like instant sparks. Like you look into their eyes and it's like, whoa. You said you could even like see my aura the first time we met.
Yeah, it's very different. I guess that's the best way of explaining it. It's very different to kind of anyone else you've met before. Yeah. You know, even the people where you naturally click with them, like people that become your friends, it's different to that because it feels like we already knew each other. Right, the moment we've all been waiting for. What is not a sign, but people think it is.
Yeah, we get this a lot in the comment section. Yeah. Yeah.
So the first one is, might surprise some of you, and that is astrological influences or birth charts. So there's a few people out there who think that your birth charts have to completely align and match. Yeah. And if they don't, then it's not your twin flame.
Same with numerology. Yeah. So they will ask us in the YouTube comments, like, what is your life path number? Astrology, what is your sign? Like, are you a Capricorn? Like, what are you? Yeah. And then they're like, oh no, a Capricorn cannot be with this sign and they cannot be with that sign. Like, it's not that simple.
This could probably be a whole video on its own, but we've researched and tried to understand this very broadly. And if you look at astrological influences, what it is really is a kind of default option. You know, like when you have software, you have a default option, which is unless you step in and change it, or unless you're aware of it, then it's going to happen. It's going to play out. So astrology is kind of like, and numerology as well to some degree, is kind of like that. It's like your default option. So unless you step in and change it, that's what's going to normally play out. So, or, you know, most of the time it will play out. So let's say if there's two star signs and they're supposedly incompatible or they, you know, aren't good in a relationship together, that's only kind of the default option for the majority of those star signs. That doesn't mean it has to always be the case. And it definitely doesn't mean that you can't change it.
Yeah, it might be a challenge that you have to overcome in order to unite but it's not like, oh, you're incompatible with star signs, so that could not be your twin flame.
So things especially like birth charts, they don't have to perfectly match up. Sometimes they do, you know, and if they do, then I guess that's another sign to look at, but it's only the kind of default options and it's not always the case.
So those were the 5 signs. Let us know in the comments what other signs you have seen on your twin flame journey and what stage you're on. We'd love to hear.